Indeed.
Hello, everybody. This is Hamza Ayaz from Modest3D here. I do believe we are live. It's June 2nd here at 10 a.m. Atlantic. I want to thank you all for joining us here this
Hamza?
morning. And I am getting started here. We have our team as well in the background getting us ready here for our ILRN event. We want to welcome you all here together. My team is in the support here in the background. They'll also be here in the chat. If anybody has any questions or wants to see anything as we're going through this here today, I'd like to welcome you all to please ask those questions in the chat. So what we're going to be showing you here today is a presentation in extended reality. So what extended reality is, it's a blanket term that covers virtual reality, augmented reality, and PC. So to do that, we're going to be showing you our extended reality present creation software called Xplorer. So the majority of the time today, we're going to be talking about how Xplorer allows you to make XR presentations very quickly and easily without requiring having coding or any high-level technical skill. So I'll be demonstrating here today along with my team who's joining us here with an experience, an extended reality experience in an Xplorer environment. We'll be walking you through that and how that environment works and looks, and we will also potentially be showing you how to actually create a presentation here in Xplorer. So to get it started, what we'd love to encourage you to do here today is to actually join us within the Xplorer environment. So what Xplorer allows you to do, it not only allows you to actually build these extended reality presentations, but of course it allows you to play and join together in them as well. So we are able to do that in a multi-user environment. So if you have different team members from around the world that you want to join together and do a extended reality presentation in, you can invite them here together. My team is actually waiting in a lesson right now in an environment that we're going to be going in together. And we'd also like to encourage you here as well to join in. So I'll be walking you through the process of how to actually download Xplorer and get it installed. And we'd love to encourage you to do that. And so that, if you do that, just mention that in the chat in this stream. We're using YouTube to stream here today. And what we can do is we can actually invite you in live here to join us all together in the environment. So you can download Xplorer on your PC. You can also download it onto your mobile device as well. So to get started, if you'd like to download that, you'd go to Xplorer.studio, the website here, Xplorer.studio. You're going to reach this main page here, which is showing you some of the features of Xplorer and what it's all about, and telling you some case studies about Xplorer as well. But if you'd like to actually get into an Xplorer lesson, you can go to register here. And it's a simple registration process that you're probably familiar with from other websites. If you don't have an account, you go to create an account, and you'll start to actually create your account by simply putting your email, your name, your username, your password, etc. And then you'll be actually good to go in the environment. And of course, you have to click I'm not a robot to ensure you're not a robot. So after this is done and you have your account created, what you'll do next is you'll actually sign into your account. So I'll show an example of that. It's a very simple process that I'm sure most of the users here, most of the people here are familiar with. Oh, and so as we log into the Xplorer website here, we have the option to download a few of our different software here. So today, what you're going to be looking to download is Modest3D Explorer. And so what you'll do after you log in is simply click this Download Explorer button. Once you go to that page, you're going to see here a second page that comes up that sees if you want to download it for Windows, you can do that through here. If you want to download it for your mobile device, you can do that through here. Another option, if you have and you want to download this on your Explorer onto your mobile device, is you can actually download it by going to your Google Play Store or to your App Store and just simply typing in Modest3D Explorer, and Explorer starts with an X. So I just dropped the E, and you can download Xplorer from your mobile device. So as I mentioned before, Xplorer allows users from around the world, around the country, doesn't matter the geographic location, to join together in the virtual environment, and their device doesn't matter either. So if they're on a PC or if they're in a mobile device, as long as it's a relatively modern mobile device, they can all join together in the environment itself. So downloading Xplorer is quite a simple process. You'll click the download link, it'll start to download there, and I'll just show you how that looks here. After Xplorer is downloaded, you'll see a introduction here to the actual download itself. You'll simply click next all the way through, and you will do your download. But for now, since I've already downloaded, we will skip it. So, jumping into now an Xplorer environment, I'd like to actually show you, just jumping in quickly, about how the Xplorer environment actually looks itself. So you'll see here that we have Xplorer environment loaded. Now, what you're also going to see here in a minute, I'm going to get up here from my desk here. And so, as I mentioned before, you have options in the environment to join an Xplorer lesson using a variety of different devices. For the purposes of our presentation here today, I'd actually like to join in a virtual reality environment. So as you should probably be able to see here, I've got my VR headset on my head, and I'm going to actually be going through this experience in virtual reality. I have some of my colleagues here as well with me in the environment. As you can see, some of my colleagues are there. You can see Brandon and Laura, and Sam is over there. And so essentially what you're seeing here is you're seeing different people on different devices all connected together. Most of these users are not in the same geographic location that I am in. And so what you're going to see here is you'll see users represented by these drones and also by these humanoid figures, these avatars here. Now essentially what this is these are different avatars you can choose and select and create and customize to be in the environment here together. So I'm here with Sam, here with Laura, here with Brandon all together, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to walk through a presentation environment in this virtual environment that I have here behind me. Very quickly, I'll just explain how I move around the environment. You may see here on my controller there's these 2 feet. What these allow me to do is teleport. So wherever that yellow circle goes, I will teleport to there. So here I am hopping all the way over. Now you'll also see here that I have my UI here, my user interface here. So I have different tools, which I'll be showing you here today that I can use. As you can see, I have many different tools. One of those, I can try my group teleport. And so I clicked my group teleport button, and then all my colleagues here all came together. So what this group teleport does, let's say you're a presenter and you want to bring your team to a specific place in the lesson, you can click the group teleport to actually do that. So I'll actually start to walk my team here together into this environment. So what I'll do, so they have, my team has full freedom of movement as well. They can move wherever they like in the environment. They can go to different places in this space. But just for the purposes of the presentation, if I'd like to actually move them to a specific area, I can just do that just through the teleport here. And as you can see, my team is now joining me around this environment here. We're all together. And so looking around this environment, you're going to see some cool stuff here. The main thing that we're going to be talking about today is actually this Tesla. Now, what Xplorer allows you to do, as I mentioned before at the start of this call, it is a extended reality presentation environment. So it allows you to do presentations and learn about different systems, equipment, vehicles, etc. in virtual reality or in PC or in mobile. Now, what you'll see here is we've got states set up. So when I move into one of these states, it's going to have an effect on the car. So as you can see, I moved here to multiplayer state 2. What we set here, that's multiplayer state 3. I'm in multiplayer state 2 right now. And what happened is when the second I moved there, we have a slide transition I'm moving forward. Now, to explain that, what that means here, I'm back in my user interface here. On the left side of my screen, I have here the different states, the different slides of this presentation. So just like you have a traditional presentation of multiple slides talking about different things, we have something similar here. So if I go to state 1, I'll see here my car comes back to normal, and so let's say I'm going to be introducing my team to this car and talking about various components about the car. That'll be multiplayer state 1. Multiplayer state 2 is the next state here, and it'll make the car fly up so that I can actually show my team here the electric motors. So let's say I'm here doing a presentation, and I'd like to actually talk to my team about this this electric motor here in this car. So I just flew off there, no problem. So I'll just jump back. So let's say I want to actually tell my team about this car here and talk about the electric motor. I've got many tools that can actually support me in doing that. So let's say I want to go to the rear electric motor, and so I have tools where I can interact with things, grab things, draw shapes, etc. So to start with, I'll actually grab. So let's say I want to grab this electric motor and I want to tell my team about it. I want to give them some information about it. So what I can actually do is I can start talking about how this electric motor actually works in this environment and how it actually runs. And I've just pulled it right off the model of the car. So what you're seeing here, this is a 3D model, of course. This is a 3D model of this Tesla car that has been loaded into the Xplorer environment. I'll get to exactly how you use 3D models in Xplorer environment in just a few moments here. But as you can see here, I've got the ability to move and show my team, my colleagues here, different parts that I'd like to show them, and etc., and give them the information that they actually need. So just coming back here, I can pull up other components as well as I need. Let's say I want to give some instruction on the rotors, and let's say that these are the brake rotors here. I can pull those off and start talking about them. Now this is beneficial. A presentation like this is beneficial for a general purpose, like giving a familiarity about a specific piece of a system or equipment. But if you consider a use case, which Xplorer is used a lot to teach on things like assembly and disassembly procedures and basic maintenance procedures. So Xplorer is used pretty often to do training such as that. And working in a 3D environment, and especially a virtual reality environment, is pretty incredible, because the fact is you can go very close to this system and equipment. You can pull it off. You can take a look at it, and this is not something you can easily do on a real Tesla. This would take you a very long time and quite a lot of work to actually do that. But in a virtual reality environment, it just takes you seconds to actually do that. And you can go through, you can pull off any component as you like and start talking about those different aspects and elements as you actually go through. So let's continue some of the other parts of the presentation. If I want things to come back to how they were before, I just simply go to another state here. So if I want them to switch to another state, I can simply just do that. So I've clicked here to my multiplayer state 3. So I can change a state by going here and clicking it, or I can also do a teleport. So in Xplorer, you can set up transition by teleport. So I've teleported to this area, and now I'm here in front of the car. Now, with my team here all together, my team can actually come very close to this car and fly through it as they like, and get very, very deep and close in this car and get an understanding of it from being very close to the vehicle. You've got the freedom and flexibility to go inside this model and take a look at the inside. So I'm here on the inside of the Tesla. I'm checking the route that we're going off. Interesting. It's a route through California. It's very cool. And we are now looking through the interior. So let's say I'm giving, if you consider a use case, let's say you have a school or a technical training college where you train on traditional internal combustion engines, and now you have a lot of electric vehicles coming out, and you'd like to find a good way to actually provide training and education on electric vehicles. Well, Xplorer is a great environment to actually do that, because you can do these kind of presentations, you can provide this instruction in a virtual environment, and you can get really deep and in depth in this vehicle without actually having to, actually get a Tesla and just basically pull it all apart. So one thing that's really interesting, as you can see, Laura has now actually used her laser pointer functionality. So this is the laser pointer functionality, and what she's done is she's highlighted here this front seat. What a user can do here as a student, as part of the presentation, is they can highlight different parts of the vehicle if they have a question. So they can ask a question of the presenter, and they can actually say, okay, can you tell me about, you know, the front seat, for example? Can you tell me about one of the wheels, for example? They have the ability to do that. So the way that Xplorer works, Xplorer is built to give presenters a lot of tools and abilities, as you can see here, to do their presentations, and it also gives students tools to do their presentations. The students are slightly restricted in the tools they can use, and that's simply to facilitate a good presentation environment that gives control to the presenter while giving some freedom functionality to the user as well. Other tools that are used, for example, if I'd like to actually switch my state, I can show you another example of that. So coming back here to state 1, if I'd like to X-ray anything, I have my X-ray feature. I can choose the color of my X-ray, and all X-ray does is it actually hides the outer object and shows you the interior. So if you want to just hide the body of this car and just show the the key elements of here, you can do that very easily through X-ray. So I've X-rayed different parts to actually show that. So the key consideration is that we're using, Xplorer excels on developing training on complex 3D objects. So that's anything like a vehicle, a car, an engine. If you consider even a 3D model of a human body, that is a 3D object. Xplorer excels at doing training on such systems and has a lot of features and functionalities to actually be in support of that. And so I'm just showing you here, flipping through my states very simply, and it is it's quite an interesting environment to actually do this training on. Now, one thing I'm going to show you here is the expand function. So what expand allows you to do, expand allows you to actually pull apart this model in many different algorithms as well. So you can actually choose the root of the object that you want to do your expansion on, and you can actually expand it out to different areas here as well. So what I've just done here is I've pulled apart. Let's say I want to actually pull apart I want to keep the body but pull apart some of the external pieces of this vehicle. I can do that through expand, and now I can see that I've got here the suspension area and some of the rotors and things like this all pulled out here. So that's what expand allows you to do. Allows you to actually pull apart this object and show it a different functionality in different areas as well. So just jumping through here, coming back to a more normal state. So the next thing I'd like to actually show is the ability to talk and communicate with the Xplorer lesson. So I can communicate, it's bi-directional, so I can communicate to my team, they can communicate back to me. So I'll just give an example of that. There'll be a little bit of a delay just with what we have stream here, but I'll give the example. Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? So that's just an example of talk, and quite soon you should hear a response from my team. Not sure if that got picked up on the stream, but team is giving us responses here.
Doing fantastic, Hamza. How are you?
Thanks very much, Sam. Doing well. Yep, and so you can communicate. There's a delay that's only due to the stream that we're doing here. In the Xplorer environment itself, the communication is instant between. So other things that are interesting about the environment here is that you have the ability to interact with different buttons and objects in the environment itself, so that you can actually put video, put images as you require. So that, like, for example, let's say you have a specific image about the battery system and you want to actually raise an image to actually talk about the battery system, or a video to talk about the battery system. It's very, very easy to do that. I'll actually be showing an example of how you can build an entire quiz in this environment, this area, and you can actually provide a lot of detail and a lot of questions and answers in the environment itself. So I'll just pause here for a moment. I'm not sure if there's any questions here from the side of the the viewers or anything, but I'll just give a pause here for just a few moments now. Okay, so I believe we don't have any questions at the moment. I'm going to jump out of this lesson here in just a moment and show you some of the how to actually get into the Xplorer lesson, how to share it, and even how to actually create an Xplorer lesson. Oh my, I really made a mess of this Tesla here. A couple of other areas of interest in this, before I actually move forward, a couple of areas of interest which might be of interest to users here. Well, as you can see, I've now teleported my team to this next area. So it's not just a car you can do it on. So we have an example here of like a turbocharger. We have a turbocharger here, X-rayed. I can actually grab different parts just as before, pull them out, and then show my team that, here's one of the turbocharger components here, for example. And I can do a full presentation on this 3D object. So before I switch into some of the other functionality of this, the question is, why do this in 3D? Why do this in a virtual environment? Why not just use traditional mediums of instruction like pictures or videos, presentations? The fact of the matter is that although those mediums work, they don't work as well as providing training in a virtual environment or 3D environment. These are 3D environments that are complex. The work that's done on them is physical and in depth, and it's hands-on. So for students to actually gain a better level of retention, a better level of knowledge, and to improve their quality as students, training and learning in a virtual environment where it's in 3D has been shown to be a lot more effective in actually providing the skills and knowledge that students should use and they need to do their their future work and role successfully. Now this carries forward not just from the education environment, but further through into the professional environment as well. So Xplorer is used to provide training at the professional level on things like equipment and vehicles and gearboxes and the like. Simply because it's a training environment that brings users very close to the equipment as it will look into reality. And as you can see, the accuracy of the models is down to the bowl. So what Modest3D does is we take these models of this equipment and we put it into Xplorer in an optimized way to actually provide for effective training. Now, what Xplorer allows you to do, which I'll show you here briefly, is allows you to actually import a 3D model from some commercially available websites and actually import it into the Xplorer environment and provide the training. So, oftentimes people ask that, okay, I don't have 3D models, where can I get a 3D model? And the answer to that is that there's a lot of 3D models which are actually commercially available. They're available on websites online, and you can actually, for the purpose of your general education and training, you can bring people in using one of those commercially available models and actually provide them with the education that they need on these systems. So to jump back here briefly, I will actually show you how you can get through to how you can actually launch a lesson and how the project section works in Xplorer. So to actually exit, I'll go to my settings area and I will quit to menu. Before I do that, I'll actually show you briefly, you can invite people into the multiplayer environment just by inviting them here in the multiplayer section. So I can see a whole list of people that are part of this environment. Let's say I'm part of a school or a university, and I can have all of my different students or people that my colleagues who are part of it, and I can invite them simply by clicking here. In my lobby area, I can see who is part of the lesson itself. So I see Laura, myself, Sam, Brandon here all together. I have the ability to either silence somebody so they can't talk, or mute them so they can't hear me. I can kick them out the environment as well. So to jump out here, going to my main menu area, just simply click to menu, quit to menu. So jumping through into my menu, this is what the home page of Explorer looks like. So when you first launch Explorer, you'll see something just like this. So on the left side here, you'll see your projects. These projects are the different virtual environments that are a part of the actual lesson environment that you have created. So Explorer works on using a 3D environment and building training within that 3D environment on an object. Like for example, what we just showed was the example of the Tesla. So we had the 3D environment of that futuristic looking area, and the 3D model that we had in there was for the Tesla. Now what I'd like to show you now is how you launch a lesson, and also what a quiz environment looks like in the lesson. So if I click projects here, I'll click my master lesson. I can play this environment in single player or multiplayer. Now what that means is that, let's say a course has been created, and you can either do that in an instructor-led environment where there's a presenter walk through the environment, sort of like I just showed, or you can do it as a single player standalone lesson. So if you have just a single person, let's say they're at home, this is their home study, for example, you can do that in just a single player environment. I will join through into the multiplayer environment, and I will invite my team once again. Just a moment here as I invite my team. So I'll invite their Sam, invite Laura. And all I'm doing is just searching for their names here and inviting them. And for this purpose, I won't use VR. I'll just use a standard PC environment, so you can also see that. So joining through here, my environment is loaded. I'm now on PC. I am waiting now for my team. Oh, I see Sam has already joined me here. I'd like to talk a bit about how you move in this environment very quickly for anybody who will also be joining. So to actually move in the environment, what you'll do is you'll hold down, I'm on PC right now, you'll hold down the right mouse button to move your head around. So right mouse button moves your head around. If you want to move yourself around, you use the WASD key. So if you look at your keyboard and you see WASD, you can imagine that the W brings you forward, S brings you back, A brings you left, D brings you right. Now, we are holding the right mouse button the whole time as we're doing this. As we see now, Brandon has joined us, Sam has also joined us. I have all the same tools and functionality that I had before in the VR experience. So I've got my group teleport. I'd like to teleport my team right there. Laura has also joined us as well. Although they've already joined me, I've just teleported them once again just to demonstrate that. Now, let's actually go through the lesson here. And actually, I have to actually pull out of this environment and join into the quiz one. So I raised the main environment, but I should be going to the tech quiz environment. Not a problem. I can switch my tech quiz lesson just like this. If I click my quiz environment, I've switched my lesson. So you have one environment and multiple lessons in the environment itself. And now you can see my quiz has actually started here, and now you're seeing my team has also joined me here as well. So if you consider one environment, one virtual environment, you can have many lessons that are built on the environment. For example, if you refer back to the Tesla, you can have one lesson talking about how to disassemble the wheels, and you have one lesson about how the battery system works, and you have one lesson about the interior of it. So you have one environment you can build many lessons all together. So my team here is here. We see this this hit point here, this button here, giving us some information. Let's start getting used to it. So now we're seeing some information about how to moving your right mouse button, and we're being asked, can you spot another pink circle anywhere? So if we look through, oh, we see a pink circle, and what we'll do is move there. And what I'll actually do is I can actually, if I can, my team member can walk here, I can actually teleport them as well if I like. So I'll teleport them out, and there's my team, all looking at here, the button here. If I go to my next button here, as I go through my experience, I'll see here during the quiz questions will pop up, and to view a question, we'll click on the circle. So I click the question button. So in Explorer, you can have questions preset in the environment that if you click on the button for a question, you'll see something like this pop up. Now, this appears not just on my screen, it appears on everyone's screen. So the second I click this, it shows up on all of the participants' screen. Because right now I'm an instructor. As an instructor raises any of the questions, they get displayed on all screens. So we're going to be now moving over to the Tesla area. So I'm moving here to the Tesla, and now I'm going to teleport my team over to the Tesla area. So here's my team all together in the Tesla environment, and we're actually going to start going through the questions here. The first question we have, let's see how much you know about the Model X. If we start going through this lesson, we click question 1 to view. The main question is, what is the main difference between a regular car and a Tesla? So as we go through, we see, okay, the power source is the difference. So now we see here the a traditional gas-powered car uses an ICE, an internal combustion engine, while an electric vehicle like a Tesla uses a rechargeable battery. So as you can see, you can raise questions and get answers here as well, and raise this as an actual quiz environment. And you can continually refer to the vehicle as well as you're going through the environment, raise your questions as you're going through your presentation, just like I'm showing here. So now the question actually was like, where would a engine be on a traditional combustion vehicle? Well, it'd be on the front of the car, but not so on a Tesla. And as we go through here, let's see here. This is an example now of a multiple choice question. So if we raise the question, where do you think the Model X's battery is located? We have option A, in the trunk, option B, along the sides of the car, C, along the bottom of the car, and D is in the wheels. Where is it actually located? And if we go to our next slide, we can see here, here's our battery pack, and it is highlighted to actually show here is the answer to that multiple choice question. That is where our battery pack is listed. So as we go forward, we have other questions. Why does placement of the car battery matter? So if we go through to the next question, we can see here the question here, why does it matter? The battery placement allows for the Model X to have a low center of gravity. This unique center of gravity prevents the car from rolling. As you can see, my team here is going around the environment here as well.
When it comes to vehicle safety, size matters. So it's not uncommon for SUVs to be generally safer than your standard sedan. However, they tend to have one big shortcoming: rollovers. SUVs are notorious for
So as you can see here, I can click to launch a video in the experience, and my team also sees that video as I play it. So as I play the video,
when it comes to
my
vehicle
team will
safety,
see it as well. And as we go forward, we have different images that can be picked up. So the question here is, the drivetrain, the system works in conjunction with the engine to move the vehicle, is an essential part to any automotive. How many moving parts do you think are in a combustion vehicle drivetrain? So if you click it, you can raise images as well. So this just shows in Explorer, you don't need just a 3D model, you can actually raise images and videos as well. So going through, this is the expansion functionality which I was showing here earlier. So this is the Tesla vehicle now fully expanded out, in expansion mode with the the rear motors here as well, all looking great, so that the team can actually go through and look at things in depth as they like, and they can get a better understanding of this vehicle and the internal components. And I, as a presenter, can go through and point out different areas and say, okay, that's the battery. As you can see, someone has just is lasering different parts as I have any questions. So here's an example of let's say this is where the frame of the battery goes into. That's where the battery actually gets secured onto that, and the battery drives the motors. I can provide that level of instruction here in the Explorer environment. So this is an example of how you can do a quiz in an Explorer environment, and how you can provide a level of presentation and discussion that's very engaging for your class or your team here. You can provide them level of instruction where they have to engage, ask questions, respond to questions, and they can actually interact with the environment as well. And then myself as an instructor, as I'm providing instruction here, I can actually pull apart different components and use them to serve my point as I'm talking about them. I can say, yes, here's how the brake discs work, and here's the different features of the brake discs. I can keep that level of instruction discussion as I'm actually going through here in the environment itself. We can also make animations in an Xplorer lesson, and you can show how that works. So we'll do an animation for the door. Let's say we just want to do an animation for the hood. We can do that as well. Show how it pops up and down. And this is essentially how an Xplorer lesson works. I'd like to jump now to show you some of the other supporting features in Xplorer. So I will pause for a moment for any questions, and I will switch to another area here. The next area that I'd like to show you is the portal. So portal is how you can actually manage the delivery of these lessons and these projects. So portal is a environment that allows you to create lists of users, assign them to groups, and then assign projects to those groups. So if you can imagine, let's say your users, you're in a university or a college environment, and your users are your list of people that are a part of this this entire field of study. And within that field of study, you may have many different classes, and as a part of those classes, you'd like to actually, create a group for that class itself. So let's say we're going to talk about electric vehicle repair 101. That's our class name. So from that, I can add people to my group. So I can search their names up, and I can add them to my group. I can simply search up their names and add them like this. I can create now my user group. So as you can see here, I have my electrical vehicle repair 101 group here. So I've got my electric vehicle repair 101. And now if I go to my projects area, so I can have multiple different projects that are a part of this environment. So if I go to my tech demo environment, Explorer demo environment, the quiz environment that we're just looking at, I can take a look at it over here. And what you see here, this is the main projects folder for my project. I have here the lessons that are a part of that project. So I've got that main lesson, I've got a sample lesson as well. And if I actually go through here, I can see different assets that are a part of it. So I have 3D models that are a part of this lesson. I may have different images that are a part of this lesson. I may have video that's a part of this lesson, all here together in the environment. If I'd like to actually start to actually create an Explorer environment, I can simply do that through the Edit button. And I'll show that here briefly, what that looks like. Just take a few seconds here to load up. And it'll just be just a moment here. I actually want to just take a moment and make sure you can see this on screen. So I'm playing now with my streaming software to make sure that you can see this. So it'll just be one brief second here. Okay. So you should now be seeing the Xplorer Creator. Okay, so here we are. We're now here in the Xplorer Creator environment. As you can see, this is the environment that we were looking at before. Here's my Tesla vehicle. So to go through briefly about how Xplorer Creator actually works, you can see it's designed to be and look very similar to how a traditional presentation creation software looks. So you have here on the left side different slides, what we call them states of this presentation here. So you have different training states that are actually a part of this. Now what you can do here is you can create new slides in a very easy process simply by interacting with this 3D model. On the top here you'll see some functionality which is going to be useful for you as you're actually creating. And then on the right side of the screen here, you're going to see a few different tools and functionality that are used as part of the creation environment. So the key thing about Xplorer is designed for non-experts, non-coders to be able to create extended reality presentations. So we've simplified the process as much as possible to allow you to create these kind of lessons within your organization yourself. Modest3D, we provide training on Xplorer to actually allow you to do that. Our whole goal is to democratize the process of creating extended reality presentations. We don't want it to just be an area for just domain experts. We want to make this as simple as possible to actually do that. On the bottom side of my screen, you're going to see some of the assets. So if I have videos and pictures that I want to load here, I can actually do that. So to show an example of how to actually create a lesson here, a slide here, I'll just take my starting state and I'll duplicate it. So let's say I want to make my slide about wheel removal. So I want to make my slide here about how to actually remove the wheels. So I will title my slide here. And so I have now created a new slide for wheel remover, and I'm in the slide here. So what I'd like to do here is I would like to actually do a few different setup things to actually help me here. So the first thing I'll do is I will start a set the camera view button. Now what this will do is this will secure, as I'm going through the lesson, it will secure my current state and image. I'm going to actually delete a duplicate step here, which I've done before. So it's very easy to do. If you want to delete a slide, you can simply right click and delete this. Now, as I go through this part here, what I'll do, so to interact and actually create any of these lessons, it's a very simple process. I simply create the object that I want to interact with, and as you can see, I see these 4 arrows. If I click and drag those 4 arrows, they're removed off from where I want them to be. Let's say I want to remove the slides and I also want to rotate them. So as you can see here, I've got my X here and I've got my circle. So my X pulls things in a, if you think about points in a compass, north, south, east, west, and our rotation actually rotates them around as well. So I can do a rotation here. So let's say I want to rotate them this way. And if I go to the next wheel, I'll simply click the wheel, I'll click the arrow, pull it out, I'll switch to a rotation, and I'll do this. Now, if you can imagine, let's say I'm creating a training lesson on how to actually disassemble the wheels off a Tesla vehicle. This is an example of that. So if I click through here, let's say I want to actually remove these rotors as well. I can do that. I want to remove them and I want to pull them up. I can simply do that very easily here. I'll simply click and drag and raise it up. And we are now in a state where we can actually start to move these different components in a very simple process. If I want to add any image or any labels, I can click the object that I want to raise an image on, a label on, and simply click the label button. So once I've clicked the label, as you can see here, there is a label associated with that with a line drawn to it. The text is taken from the 3D model's part name. If I want to rename that, I can just simply say the right front wheel. I can come down to my text section and I can do that. If I want to increase the font, I can actually do that very easily here. So let's say it's 120. I want to make it a nice big view here, and I can set that. I can do the same for my other vehicle here, my other wheel here. Come to this area, I can create my label. Whoops. And I can simply make it come up just like this. I can go through, I can change my text for this as well, so I can say this is now the right rear wheel. Now, if I save my lesson and Xplorer allows you to go from creation to playing and seeing your lesson in a very rapid format. If you have any familiarity working with a 3D environment, typically that can take a very long time to do, but in Xplorer it's done just in a matter of seconds here. So if I go through to my different slides that are part of this, if we can actually go through here, this is another slide here, but if you go through our wheel removal slide here. So in a matter of just a few moments here, I have created now my wheel removal slide. So this is like the slide previous to it. I come to wheel removal and I see my wheel removal state there, just like that, already created. So I can see my wheels removed, I can see my labels, and I can do that. So we just created a simple wheel removal process step showing that in a matter of a couple of minutes. So if you consider a more complex procedure like an assembly or disassembly procedure, that is also very, very rapidly simplified, and the creation of this is done really in just a few minutes. All you have to do is click objects and pull them apart, and you pull them apart in the natural order of assembly and disassembly based on what is useful for your organization, and it is just done in that simple of a process, just like this. So let's say I want my wheel removal to also feature these components to be removed. It's just that simple and quick. So I'll save that again, go back into play. And now personally, in my view, I find this in fact faster than a traditional presentation to actually create on, especially if it's on a complex object. It's much faster to create it in Xplorer than it is on a traditional presentation, and in my opinion, it's a much better quality of that as well. So just a couple minutes, just a couple seconds really, I pulled off these components here as well. And you can go very complex with this, or you can go very simple with this, as you like. So I'm going to pause here for any questions or anything anybody would like to see, but essentially what we'd like to show you is some of the basic features here of Xplorer and Xplorer Creator, and discuss a little bit today about how you can leverage Xplorer and Xplorer Creator for your environment. Okay, I believe there's no questions, so I want to thank you all very much for joining us here today. It's been a pleasure to present this to you on behalf of Modest3D. Now, we would love to encourage you to get in contact with us if you'd like to explore this environment, pardon the pun. But if you'd like to learn a little bit more or get an understanding of how Xplorer can benefit you and your organization, feel free to reach out to us here at Modest3D, and we would be happy to help you.